The next speaker, Mr. Ruggero Lensi, works for the Italian Organization for Standardization, UNI. He has a background in civil engineering. He is Director of External Relationships, New Business and Innovation at the Italian Organization for Standardization, and he has been Technical Director of the Standardization Department and has represented UNI in the Technical Board of CEN. And he's going to talk to us about the European Committee for Standardization, CEN, and the CEN workshops, their achievements and recommendations. So thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. And I'm very happy to be here representing standardization. We have heard sometimes the world standards in the previous presentation. In particular, in this last one, we were hearing about scientific evidence and the conformity to the highest standards. So I just would like in these 20 minutes to give you an overview of European standardization and in particular of the work we have performed in, within the CHANCE project on standardization. So in Europe, standardization is represented by three organizations, which are the CEN, CENELEC, and ETSI. These three organizations are recognized by the European Commission and by the Parliament. The difference, it's the topic that they are followed. The main one is CEN. It's following all the topics relating to the every products, every services, which are now dealing with electrotechnical matter. So I must say about 80% of everything which exists in the production. CENELEC is for electrotechnical aspects, and ETSI is for communication, mobile phone, for example. So this system has official legal recognition in the highest level of recognition, which is the regulation 1025, which have been approved by the Parliament 2 years ago. And in this regulation, it is clear which are the function of the standardization system in Europe. And one of the main aspects is the support of legislation. So there is a clear connection between legislative aspect in Europe and standardization, which are the voluntary system of the how the market can be regulated. One thing is important to highlight is that standards are some kind of picture of the state of the art. So when you have a common agreement on how you can do things in a good way, these are standards. In particular, CEN, the Comité Européen de Normalisation, is the committee of the members in Europe, and he works with 311 active technical committees with more than 1,400 working groups. And all these activity has performed standards and has achieved a total of documents available of about 15,000 standards. And beside this kind of standardization, there is another way to produce specification, which are the CEN workshops, and we will see some more information about that later. So what is important to highlight is that for European standardization is a system which has a very particular rules in the world. That when an EN standard is published, there is an obligation of adoption for all the members of CEN, so all the country of the European Union. That is absolutely unique in the world, because that means that you can have an access to the market, and you can have the free circulation of products today. We hope in the future of services, much more. So in order to have one really unique common market in Europe. And the base of the common market in Europe is standardization. And as I said before, standardization are the picture of the state of the art. But what happens when you do not have a state of the art, when your topics is absolutely innovative, that you hope to create a state of the art? So in the past, about 10 years ago, it was not possible to have standards. And that's why very often the dissemination of some research, for example, the founded research, or the work done by consortium as a specification which was a private specification. So CEN, about 10 years ago, has created the CEN Workshop Agreement product. This is exactly the same idea. When you have an innovation market, you can define within a consortium, define in a team of research, you can define a specification, which is not yet a European standard, but it's a product of CEN. That means that the different deliverables that you may have at European level are obviously the EN standards, other kind of deliverable which are called CEN-TS and CEN-TR, but the last one are the CEN Workshop Agreement. The important difference between European standard and CEN Workshop Agreement is that there is not a real obligation of adoption at national level. So the CEN Workshop Agreement is published and is available on the European market with no obligation of adoption. But, which is very interesting, and that's why it's a real link between innovation and state of the art, is that when you publish a CEN Workshop Agreement in the process, in the rules, you have a maintenance rules which give you the possibility to have an extension of validity of this CEN Workshop Agreement, but also to upgrade it as a European standard, or even ISO and international standards. So the CEN Workshop Agreement is the first type of document in order to achieve the state of the art of the standard in Europe. The process is a very fast process, much more faster than the one which is used for European standards, and it's based on a preparation and a kickoff meeting and a drafting. So the focus of the system is when you draft the content of the standards. After that, there is an adoption procedure and a publication. And as I said before, then after 3 years, you can check the validity of this document. Obviously, I'm saying all these things because there is a CEN Workshop Agreement within this project CHANCE. The name is Workshop WS7T, and the title is Nutritionally Correct Low-Cost Food for People at Risk of Poverty. So it has been, from my point of view, a very good idea to link the research of the CHANCE program to a standards, a CEN Workshop Agreement, and we have worked on this. We started with a kickoff meeting which have been held in April last year. In this kickoff meeting, we define the structure of the group. We nominate a chairman, a vice chairman, and a secretariat. And different interested parties, and some of you were part of this group, have been nominated in order to participate to the drafting of the document. The chairman was elected as Marco Della Rosa, University of Bologna. We have a vice chair, Anna Maria Mandic, from Serbia, and the secretariat is Elena Mocchio, is a colleague of mine in UNI, the Italian National Studies Bodies. These are the registered participants, the people who have participated directly to the drafting and the approval of the document. And obviously, I would like to thank all of you and the chairman and the vice chairman. Where we are now, the drafting has been finished. We finalized the document in Milano in January of this year. And there is now a public consultation, which is an important rules of the SEN system in order to have transparency. And this public consultation has a deadline for comment on the 8th of August. So we are collecting comment from anybody in the world. And we had to consider this comment in order to finalize the document as a publication of the SEN workshop agreement, which we have put as a deadline the end of September. The third aspect, which is important to note, the difference between standards and SEN workshop agreement, is that unfortunately for the market, not for us because we are selling it, standards are not on free. The market has to pay standards, EN standards, but not for SEN workshop agreement. That's why, the reason why is that in order to have an acceleration of the knowledge of contents, and in order to have a much closer time between innovation and state of the art, these documents are put for free on the market. So anybody can download it, read it, apply it, and hopefully also provide some observation in order to improve it. So the scope, the documents specify the general specific requirements and labeling criteria of chance food. So also labeling criteria considering what we heard before. It provides specific requirements relevant to raw and functional ingredients, food design and formulation, production process, packaging design, and analytical approach for fruit, vegetable, and animal origin-based chance food, and ready-to-eat chance pizza. Moreover, it provides general labeling requirements for chance food. So this is the scope, and obviously also the content of the document, which is based on 3 principles. I would like just to read these 3 principles just for the fact that I'm not an expert on food. I'm just a standardized maker. Chance food shall not have a nutritional composition that could be dangerous for health, also based on the nutritional criticalities emerging in the chance projects. Improvement of the nutritional quality of the food in terms of enrichment of micro and macronutrient and bioactive compound contents without increased production cost, things that we have heard today. Optimization of processing technologies in conjunction with traditional processing technologies and easily adaptable and available technology solution and equipment for producing chance food. The main technological target property, shelf life, sensory, and rheological properties are combined to fit the main healthy target properties of the final products. And the end, ingredients to characterize the design of chance food obtained from selected low-cost raw materials and byproducts. The use of selected chance ingredient in the formulation and mixing process is supported by the study of the influence of the ingredients used on the physical, chemical, sensorial, and rheological properties. The development of the chance food as laboratory-scale prototype and then in pilot plants to finally reach the production at industrial level should consider the processing needs related to the type of scale development. The future activities of the SEN Workshop Agreement is that once published, it will be a good initiative to adopt it at national level, even if it is voluntary, by the different SEN members. So what I can suggest you is to go at national level in your country to your SEN members and to take a contact with them in order to have a dissemination at national level of the Sand Workshop Agreement when it will be published at the end of September, in order that it can be used by the market. That allows us in 3 times that the community of participants be asked to verify the contents, maybe to modify the contents, and maybe to achieve the very final result is the publication of EN standards. I thank you very much. I just want to remind you that UNI has its premises in Milano, and that next year in Milano that we have the Expo, which is, as you know, dedicated on food. Thank you very much.